All right, so we talked about global actions. We are now going to talk about item actions, and I've taken over. We're going to use the same orders that we've been using, and I've taken all these over. So I have all the available actions needed for each item. We don't have to worry about taking it over and not seeing anything. So let's start with this first one, and we can see it's been approved and printed. You can see here. Order printing. So basically, there's not really anything to do because this is the end of the order. So no action needed. We can still have global actions, but in terms of the item, nothing much. Here, we can see it's in manager review. So we've kind of discussed what this means, and now let's look at our options here. So quickly, we can see which artist it is. We can see it's Michelle. If we click this, we can now reassign a new artist to this, even though it's in manager review. Basically, what will happen is is it will kind of take it out of manager review and kind of reset the whole process as if it was assigned to a different artist from to begin with. So that's artist. Obviously, here we can send for customer review. We can cancel this order. Say the customer says, I don't want it, or I changed my mind before they even saw it, whatever. We can cancel this order. We can approve on behalf of the customer. Now, we typically only use this for glitches. So, like, say the customer says, I'm trying to approve, I can't do it. Or the customer just doesn't want to go into the order profile, or, they're just really giving us a hard time. They know what the pop art looks like. For whatever reason, they can't approve it. We can approve it on behalf of the customer. Also, we can require a fix on behalf of the customer. Why would we do that? We've kind of talked about it before. Say the customer chats to us in here in their chat box and says, can you make this a little bit more red, right? Well, they're not really supposed to ask for fixes here because this is meant for customer service. So basically, in order for the flow to not get broken and it to go and for the fix to go to the fixer correctly, we can require a fix. And then basically, when we click this and we select the fixer and we type in, basically what they'll do is they'll just copy and paste whatever the customer said and hit submit. And then it's going to act as if nothing ever happened. The fixer is going to get it and life goes on. So it kind of is a way to not break the flow of the system. And this is just to assign a different fixer. So say, the pop art was done and they asked for a fix and they're still not getting it, and maybe we want to try a different fixer because the one who's been fixing it just is not seeing something. You can just assign another fixer. Typically, you don't use that, but it's there. The option's there for you. So those are the options we have based when the status is in manager review. Now remember, we talked about these buttons are going to change depending on what status this is. So let's go to the next order and see how this is kind of changed, and let's see what the status is. So this one's in artist work. So notice we don't have approve, we don't have require a fix, we don't have a lot of those buttons because it's not applicable to the situation because there's no pop art yet. So the only options we have here that it's in artist work is we can see the artist. Again, we could assign a different artist, which will then just take it out of the Emilio's batch and give it to somebody else. We can cancel it, or we could assign a fixer. Now the reason why we could still have a fixer here is because because the fixers are essentially our artists as well. So let's just say Emilio is really backed up and all the artists are backed up. Let's say fixing is kind of low, like the fixers are good. We can just assign this to a fixer and they can kind of help out and do the pop art. So those are the only options we have for this one because it's in artist work. This one's been distributed. So it hasn't been assigned an artist yet. It's just been pushed out of the new items and into the distribute. So here we can assign an artist, we can cancel, we can assign a fixer, right? Pretty straightforward. This one's been resubmitted. So again, we can assign an artist, we can cancel, we can assign a fixer, but this is not going to do anything until we select the picture we want. Remember, tiles are no good. Tiles mean hey guys, we're waiting for you guys to do something. You gotta select something, and then we'll be able to move forward. Again, distributed, same kind of thing. Artist, cancel, fixer. Resub needed. So this is telling us that we need to resub this picture. So right now we can still send it back to distribute. We can still have an artist take it. We can cancel it. We can assign a fixer. This is because we haven't spoke to the customer yet. So if we did want to give it before we talk to the customer and said your picture's not going to work, we can try giving it to an artist or we can try giving it to a fixer. And the status is telling us that it needs a resubmission, right? So now that we've kind of gone over the actions on the bottom, let's look at the actions on here and see how they differ between the different statuses. So now I'm going to go back this way. We're going to start with this one, and we're going to kind of backtrack to the other orders that we started with. So on resub needed, this is telling us that it needs a resub. So on the customer side, so look at this as two different sides. We have the customer side and our side. The customer side, we have two options. We have an image selector, which is going to allow us to see if the customer has uploaded any other pictures in the past. This is kind of like their pool of pictures, which they haven't, and we know this because this is a first time resub. So we're going to click this, and that's it. So basically, that allows us to see any other pictures. And then we have resub. So here, on their side, we can actually go ahead and do a resub. And now remember, we have all of our templates that are here, and we also can do a manual resub. So if we don't want to give them a template, we want to make it more personalized, we can do that. So we have the ability to resub right in here. Remember, in navigation mode, you can do it in batches, but in the profile, you still have the ability to do it. It's just going to be done right here. And again, on this one, see, this one's waiting for a resub, so we can resub right here. This one isn't waiting for a resub. It's been distributed. We don't know if it's going to need a resub or not because this is telling us it's been distributed. It hasn't been assigned to an artist. It hasn't been asked for a resub. It's just been distributed. But basically, all we know is that it's been added to the new items tab. But if you look, we still have the ability to resub right here. We won't because we're gonna wait for the manager to decide what needs to happen with this. And then again, the image selector. Here on this side, basically what we have is a choose file. So if we want to upload a proof, we can do it. We don't have to be an artist to upload a proof. All the pop arts are saved in a database in our office. So a customer service person, a manager can go into the database, find the proof if they needed to, and upload it here. If they wanted to. Typically, the artist will do it, and it'll go through the system that way. But there's special occasions where maybe a customer wants an old proof. They've asked for multiple proofs and they want to go back to an old proof. We can click here, go to the database, find the old proof, and upload it. So we have our sides to upload. Their side is image selector or ask them for a new picture. Let's come back here. Same thing because it's the same status. And same thing here. See, there's no resub button here because these pictures have already been resubmitted. We need to find a picture in order for us to resub. And say none of these pictures were to work, right? Let's just say this one too. Like this one's that we would pick one essentially. So in order to resub and make them a second offender, right? We would have to select a picture first because it won't allow us to do any resub. So we're going to select the picture. And now, once a picture is selected, it gives us the option, do you want to resub it? And then if you were to resub this, they would fall into a second offender. And basically, it's the same for all these statuses. These aren't really going to change. These will always be options here for you, really, regardless of what this status is. It's typically going to be these ones that change depending on what's going on. We'll always be able to upload a proof. We'll always be able to look at the image selector, and we'll always be able to resub as long as we have the order taken over. If we don't have it taken over, these options will not be available to us, and neither will these. And that's it for item actions.